So today I'm going to show you how to do something like this. Well, I was actually creating the content and I needed the Gambian flag animated, but then the ones I saw were not suiting what I actually wanted. So, and when I checked other websites, they were not actually free. So it was a challenge. Why don't we create us? Okay, so this is something you can actually do in Blender. It may take you like 2 or 3 minutes, but because I'm explaining, it may take a bit longer. So I'll just show you the process on how to do something similar. Blender is actually free, so you don't need to pay for it. So the first thing you want to do is to create a new, let's just save this, a new file, and we can just delete this. We don't need this. Press Shift A. We need a cylinder. We scale it down by pressing S because we want it to be thin. Then just click on the y-axis. Now we press S and scale it on the z-axis blue. So if you look over here, you can see the axis and then the z-axis, y, and all of that. So also the line tells you the blue is the z-axis, the red is the x-axis, and the yellow is the green. So I'm scaling on the x-axis, so I want it to be straight. So if you see, if I'm in the 3D viewport, you see how it looks like. I can still scale this down depending on how I want it. If I still want it thinner, but I think this is fine for now. Okay, we can scale this up. You see, press S and Z, so it scales it on one axis. That's for you. So this is fine. So we can go fancy with this. You can zoom in. You can use the mouse, and so what we want to do is that if you press the top, we go to the edit mode. This way we can edit the individual points of the object or everything. Click outside. So you want to click on the X-ray mode on top here, top of the X-ray mode. This allows you to select. If I do not click this, if I select a point like this, it's not going to select the ones behind it. So it's very good to have your X-ray mode turned on. When you turn it on, it selects what's in front and behind. And we just want, now you see it's selecting everything because we have to change the mode. Okay, from a point, just change it to vertices. So it will select just the vertices on top. So the reason why we are selecting this so we can easily modify this. So if I press E, I can extrude it. If I press S, I can scale it up. Awesome. E goes up, S scale it down. So it looks more like a wooden structure. So we can choose to do the same thing for the bottom too. And we highlight it, extrude, scale it, extrude down. I think that's fine. You can just extrude down again, scale up maybe a bit, extrude it down. I think that's fine, so we don't overkill. So if we press the tab key, we go back to object mode. So this is how it looks like. It looks like a nice arrow. That's pretty cool. So we've done the first step. So the next thing we want to do now is we need our flag. Okay, so to do that is quite, first of all, save your work. It's very important. Uh, Gambia flag. That's for Gambia purple. Okay, so Gambia flag, save Blender file. Save it wherever you want to save it. I have a project file, but I'll just save it here for now. So the next thing we want the plane. So we just press Shift A, click on Mesh, choose a plane, and the next thing we want to do is that we want to rotate this plane. So you press R. You want to rotate it on the y-axis. You see, we rotate it on the y-axis. So right here, I can just click, select here, and press negative 90 degrees. So now you see it's perfectly 90 degrees. Huh? So if I press G, I can move it along the y-axis. That's this yellow green line you're seeing. Press G and then Y, so it moves on only one axis. You see that? So we can take this up. We can say G and Z. So we just go up. We can zoom in. So I wanted to intersect a bit with the wooden structure. You see? So we can scale this on the y-axis. Just make it a bit longer, press G, and then move on the Y. Awesome. So you see, we have our flag there. That's beautiful. So what we're going to do, press on the tab key again. It takes us to edit mode. We right click and subdivide. You see? So when you subdivide, oh, my face is blocking it. Let me show you. We have here, if you click on the subdivide menu here, then you select the number of cuts. You can select something like 30. Okay. So when we do that now, what we want to do, we want every part of this flag to move except this point here that is connected. So what we're going to do is actually we have to select that point. So you see X-ray mode is turned on. So I can just select only that part here, those vertices. If you want to confirm, you see the point. So these are the points, these are the only points that are selected. So these points are not going to move. So we need to tell Blender, okay, I'm setting this point so that it doesn't move. So if we come to our vertex group, we can create a vertex group. Just click on the plus, we create a new one. You can say this is flag point, and we just assign it. Okay, we're just assigning that point. So whenever you want to reuse it again, so we click back, go press the tab, and go back to the object view. Now what we want to do is that we want to come here to physics. We want it to move. Where's physics? We want it to move. So we give it a clock simulation because that's how we want it to move. So when you click on clock, now if you press play, oh, sorry. If you press play, you see it just drops down. Okay, the clock simulation is working, but it's dropping down. So we still need to do something. So if you scroll down at the bottom, we come to collision. Yes, we want it to collide with itself. Yes, so it's a clock, so it collides with itself. And if you come on the shape, now we want to pin some point. So it doesn't just fall down completely. So we can pin a particular point. That means to stay in the same position. It cannot move, even when the animation happens. So if you click on pin group, you see, remember the point you set, the flag point. So we just select it. So what that does is that when we play, you see, that's pretty nice. But then we don't just want our flag to be falling down just like that. We want it to actually move. So what we can do is that we can go back here, you just press Shift A, and we're going to create a wind. So what this is actually going to do is we go to force field and create a wind. Okay, so we can just move it here, rotate it. So what that means that this wind is going to be blowing. It's like a force field, blowing wind to this flag, so it doesn't. But right now, you see nothing is happening because the wind, the energy is not enough. So we need to give it more strength. So if you come to the strength, we can set it to maybe something like 3000. So you see when you set it now, you see it is blowing wind to the flag, and the flag is actually moving. How beautiful is that? Awesome. So we're coming there. So now what we want to do next is that I can decide that okay, this still doesn't look that, still looks very pixelated. So what I can do is I can click on it, come to the modifiers tab over here and add a modifier. I'm going to call it a subdivision surface modifier. If you click on it, it just makes it more smoother. Okay, so another thing we can do is that if you don't want this to be too thin, you can add a solidifier there. It's up to you, but it's personal. I can turn off the extreme mode. So we can add a solidifier. What a solidifier does is that if you add a solidifier, makes the flag thicker. Okay, so now depending on the type of content you're trying to make, you can choose how thick you want your flag to. It just gives a bit of thickness, so you can see. So it's moving up, but now this is not the final product. We need to have a flag or something like that. So what you can do is you can go to the internet and just go to the internet and search for Gambia flag and download one. Or you can decide to make one in Photoshop or any other software. It's just rectangle, red rectangle, white rectangle, blue rectangle, white rectangle, or something like that. It's not too complex. You can download it, save it on your computer, wherever you want to do. And so once we're done with that, let's just go back to frame 0. Now we are coming to the coloring part now, the texturing part. So we click on the flag itself. It's a good thing to name your stuff. So like I click on this, I can just name this as um, flag. This one will be the pole. Okay. And so what we're going to do is that if you come over here to shading, this part here, you can just use the middle mouse button to scroll around or use this. So it says shading now. We want to give shading to this black. And then, so what we can do is we create a new material here. So we're now in the geometry nodes. This way you actually do all of your fancy stuff. So right now it has a base color. You can change the color to whatever we want. That's not what we want. We want an image node. But then this one we want an image texture. So you can right click and then you just click on texture. You come to image texture. You see, so if you connect this image texture to the base color, you can see the color color. You just connect this yellow to the yellow. We have this, but it's blank now, so it needs an image. So you click on open, and then wherever you save your flag, you can just click open image. But now you see mine is it's upside down, and then there's no settings for me to actually change it or orient it here. So what I need to do is I need additional nodes that will actually help me with that. So if you come to add and vector, we can just add mapping. So this is actually going to help us to arrange the points, organize the points. Okay, we connect that to the vector, and then but right now it's not working, so we need another node, and that's going to be our texture coordinate. We bring that in front here. So they're saying, okay, now we want to adjust this UV. So we see now, so we have the texture coordinate. So now we want to adjust the UV. Okay, that's what is wrapping around the object itself. So we can just adjust that manually through this part. So you see, if I rotate this around the z-axis, if I just click 90, and boom. So you see, so I'm able now to rotate this image the way I want it. So I can prefer to go back to the image and just flip it or rotate it, but at times you want to have more control. So this, you just need this additional nodes to actually help you do that. It fits the position, and then you have your image, and it fits it to the ideas, and then you output the material. So simple like that, not complex. We can click on the pole too, just add a new material. You can just go with something simple with this one. You can choose how metallic you want it to be. The roughness depends on your personal preference. Okay, so you have something like that. So if you come back to layout, we're not seeing it here. Why? Because we're in the solid or viewport shading mode. So if you click here, viewport shading, we can actually change it. Okay, so before we're here, and we can change it. So you can see how it looks like. So if you play it now, wow, so we have something nice and cool like that. So if I increase the wind, I can make it to move more. But for now, that's not our focus. It depends on you can play around with it. But now, what I can choose to do is that if I click on render on top here, render image, you can see it's a PNG file, but then the way it's positioned, it doesn't look right. I'm saying it straight like this. It's because of your camera. So if your camera is not facing in the right position, so if you click on camera, we need to adjust it. Make sure the camera is selected. You click on this arrow here or press N. You come to view and you click camera to view. So this will enable us to easily adjust it the way we want to do. I'm rotating with the middle mouse button, or you can just click down here and adjust it the way you want it to look like. So you can see the settings actually here. Okay, let's go right here. You can set the Z to 0, and then so we have something nice that looks good. So these are camera. Now, if you come to item, we can just lock this position so it doesn't move. So you can see now I cannot move the camera if you are satisfied with it. But then if I click out of it, I can go back, adjust anything. But once I'm in camera mode and I click render, render image or F12, I'm able to render it out. So you see, that's it there. Okay. So now, but we need something else. We need like a backdrop. Just makes it a bit nicer and more cooler. Yeah. We can add lighting too if you want. You can add Control Shift and add more lighting. But for now, we just add a backdrop. Shift A. You can click on a mesh and a plane. Okay. So we rotate it the y-axis. Click here, select 90, and but see, or click. I don't want it to interfere with the flag, so I click G, x-axis, and push it back a bit. So what we do is we scale this up. Oh, we scale it up like that. Okay, so we scale it like that. We have different type of backdrops you can do. If you do photography, you know. But for now, we're just keeping it straight and plain. So if I render this F12, so you can see it there, but it has not enough lighting. So what we can do is that we can click on our light. Where's our light? See, our light is um, our light is behind. So you can just click on the light, G, Z, and we bring it in front. So if I click render image, now you see the lighting is coming, but it's also adding shadows with I know one. So if I click on the light itself, we come down to the bottom, click on light, and you can say, okay, I don't want it to have shadows, although you can still light everything up for me. Okay, so you see it has a lighting there. So I can take this light and bring it here. If I right click, adjust like the power, I can adjust the right click and adjust the power and just move to the right. It's increasing the strength of it. Or you can do it manually here, the power. So if I click render image. So lighting is a different aspect of it, like how you properly light up a scene. I'm even learning, I'm still in the process of learning that I can copy this and paste it, Control C, Control V, G. I have a second light here. And then see if I render image. So we have lighting here, something like that. If you don't want the light in the backdrop, you can just move it out. G, X. We take it out of the backdrop, G and X. So if we render this, we have the image in, so you can see. So at this backdrop, you can click on the backdrop and then come to shading and just give it base material. So maybe a color that's different. So if we are like, if you're in editing software, you can easily pick it out. Maybe bring it to a color picker, you can just pick out the color or any other software so you can actually remove the background. So I'm not using green or blue because the flag is already green, so you may want to use a different color, something that will not conflict when you're having moving it out. Okay, so just find a color that's preferable um, for you. Okay, let's go and see. It's going to affect the white. Maybe no, Unity is very similar with green, so we need to be mindful of this stuff. But if you click on image, render image, so you see, awesome, we have that there. So see, if I play this, come to camera mode, we have an awesome flag animation. So you can use this in a video, wherever you want to do. So if I click on render, I can render the animation. So what that does is going to go through each of the frame and render it. So if you look on top here, it's going through each of the frame and render one by one. That's You may not want to do that. So that's basically how you do this. I know it took a lot of time because I was explaining, but it's a very quick process if you wanted to do it on your own. So I hope the video was helpful. Please feel free to like, share, and comment. If there's any other thing you would like me to do, just let me know. Okay? All right.